National Preparedness Month webinar. Prepare for a flood or tornado. National Preparedness Month. September is National Preparedness Month, and we should encourage first responders and their families to make a commitment to prepare for emergencies by following 3 simple steps. Be informed before, during, and after an emergency. Make a family emergency plan. Get an emergency supply kit. Prepare for a flood or tornado. Today we will go over preparing for a flood and tornado. In order to keep families safe in an emergency, it is important to plan in advance. Know your local alerts and warning systems. Build emergency kits. Understand hazards. Know the terminology and be familiar with evacuation routes and shelter plans. Tips for preparing for a flood. Floods are one of the most common hazards in the United States. However, not all floods are alike. Some floods develop slowly, while others, such as flash floods, can develop in just a few minutes and without visible signs of rain. Additionally, floods can be local, impacting a neighborhood or community, or very large, affecting entire river basins and multiple states. Here are some tips for preparing for a flood. Contact your local county geologist, county planning department to find out if your home is located in a flash flood-prone area or landslide-prone area. Learn about your community's emergency plans, warning signals, evacuation routes, and locations of emergency shelters. Plan and practice a flood evacuation route with your family. Ask an out-of-state relative or friend to be the family contact in case your family is separated during a flood. Make sure everyone in your family has their contact information. Post emergency phone numbers at every phone and add these numbers as contacts on your cell phone. Inform local authorities about any special needs, such as elderly or bedridden people or anyone with a disability. Identify potential home hazards and know how to secure or protect them before the flood strikes. Be prepared to turn off electrical power when there is standing water, fallen power lines, or before you evacuate. Turn off gas and water supplies before you evacuate. Secure structurally unstable building materials. Buy a fire extinguisher and make sure your family knows where it is and how to use it. Keep an adequate supply of food, drinking water, and flashlights with extra batteries in case you're trapped inside your home. Buy and install sump pumps with backup power. Have a licensed electrician raise electric components such as switches, sockets, circuit breakers, and wiring at least 12 inches above your home's projected flood elevation. For drains, toilets, and other sewer connections, install backflow valves or plugs to prevent floodwaters from entering. Anchor fuel tanks, which can contaminate your basement if torn free. An unanchored tank outside can be swept downstream and damage other houses. During a flood watch or warning, seek higher ground. Do not wait for instructions. Gather your emergency supply kit and be ready to evacuate. Stay tuned to local radio or TV stations for updates. Be aware of flash flood areas such as canals, streams, drainage channels, and underpasses. If no vehicle is available, make arrangements with friends or family for transportation. Listen for disaster sirens and warning signals. Put livestock and family pets in a safe area. Due to food and sanitation requirements, emergency shelters cannot accept animals. If you must leave your home, do not walk through moving water. 6 inches of moving water can knock you off your feet. If time allows, move essential items to upper floors. Turn off all utilities at the main power switch and close the main gas valve if evacuation appears necessary. Have your immunization records handy or be aware of your last tetanus shot in case you receive a puncture wound or a wound becomes contaminated during the flood. Fill bathtubs, sink, and plastic soda bottles with clean water. Sanitize the sinks and tubs first by using bleach. Rinse and fill with clean water. Adjust the thermostat on refrigerators and freezers to the coolest possible temperatures. Bring outdoor possessions such as lawn furniture, grills, and trash cans inside or tie them down securely. Fill your vehicle's gas tank and make sure the emergency kit for your car is ready. If you are ordered to evacuate, you should never ignore an evacuation order. Authorities will direct you to leave if you're in a low-lying area or within the greatest potential path of the rising waters. If a flood warning is issued for your area or you are directed by authorities to evacuate the area, take only essential items with you. If you have time, turn off gas, electricity, and water. Disconnect appliances to prevent electrical shock when the power is restored. Follow the designated evacuation routes and expect heavy traffic. Do not drive into flooded areas. If floodwaters rise around your car, abandon the car and move to higher ground when water is not moving or not more than a few inches deep. You can be swept away quickly. If your vehicle is trapped in rapidly moving water, stay in the vehicle. If the water is rising inside the vehicle, seek refuge on the roof. Do not camp or park your vehicle along streams, rivers, or creeks, specifically during threatening conditions. Do not attempt to drive or walk across creeks or flooded roads. Just 6 inches of moving water can make you fall. If you have to walk in water, walk where the water is not moving. Use a stick to check the firmness of the ground in front of you. If you are ordered not to evacuate, monitor the radio or television for weather updates. Prepare to evacuate to a shelter or to a neighbor's home if your home is damaged or if you're instructed to do so by emergency personnel. Flood recovery. How to avoid illness during flood recovery. Always wash hands with soap and water that has been boiled or disinfected before preparing or eating food, after toilet use, after participating in flood cleanup activities, and after handling articles contaminated with floodwater or sewage. If you receive a puncture wound contaminated with feces, soil, or saliva, ask a doctor or health department whether a tetanus booster is necessary. How to make sure your food is safe during flood recovery. Do not eat any food that may have come in contact with floodwater. For infants, use only pre-prepared canned baby formula that requires no added water, rather than powdered formulas prepared with treated water. Thawed food can usually be eaten or refrozen if it is still refrigerator cold, or if it still contains ice crystals. To be safe, remember, when in doubt, throw it out. Discard any refrigerated or frozen food that has been at room temperature for 2 hours or more, and any food that has an unusual odor, color, or texture. How to make sure your water is safe during flood recovery. Listen for public service announcements on safety of the municipal water supply. Listen for public service announcements on safety of the municipal water supply. Flooded private water wells will need to be tested and disinfected after flood waters recede. Questions about testing should be directed to your local health department. Safe water for drinking, cooking, and personal hygiene includes bottled, boiled, or treated water. Your local health department can make specific recommendations for boiling or treating water in your area. Remember these general rules concerning water for drinking, cooking, and personal hygiene. Do not use contaminated water to wash dishes, brush your teeth, wash and prepare food, wash your hands, make ice, or make baby formula. You can use an alcohol-based hand sanitizer to wash your hands. If you use bottled water, be sure it came from a safe source. If you do not know that the water came from a safe source, you should boil or treat it before you use it. Use only bottled, boiled, or treated water until your supply is tested and found safe. Boiling water, when practical, is the preferred way to kill harmful bacteria and parasites. Bringing water to a rolling boil for 1 minute will kill most organisms. When boiling water is not practical, you can treat water with chlorine tablets, iodine tablets, or unscented household chlorine bleach that is 5.25% sodium hypochlorite. If you use chlorine tablets or iodine tablets, follow the directions that come with the tablets. If you use household chlorine bleach, add 1/8 teaspoon of bleach per gallon of water if the water is clear. For cloudy water, add 1/4 teaspoon of bleach per gallon. Mix the solution thoroughly and let it stand for about 30 minutes before using it. Note: treating water with chlorine tablets, iodine tablets, or liquid bleach will not kill parasitic organisms. How to handle animals and mosquitoes during flood recovery. Many wild animals may be forced from their natural habitats by flooding, and many domestic animals may also be without homes after a flood. Take care to avoid these animals. Do not corner an animal. If an animal must be removed, contact your local animal control authorities. Contact your local or state health and agriculture officials for state guidelines on disposal of dead animals. Protect yourself from mosquitoes. Use screens on dwellings, wear long-sleeved and long-legged clothing, and use insect repellents that contain DEET or picaridin. How to deal with chemical hazards during flood recovery. Be aware of potential chemical hazards you may encounter during flood recovery. Floodwaters may have buried or moved hazardous chemical containers of solvents or other industrial chemicals from their normal storage places. If any propane tanks, whether 20-pound tanks from a gas grill or household propane tanks, are discovered, do not attempt to move them yourself. These chemical hazards represent a very real danger of fire or explosion, and if any are found, police or fire departments or your state fire marshal's office should be contacted immediately. Car batteries, even those in floodwater, may still contain an electrical charge and should be removed with extreme caution by using insulated gloves. Avoid coming in contact with any acid that may have spilled from a damaged car battery. How to deal with electric and gas utilities during flood recovery. Turn off utilities at the main switches or valves if instructed to do so. Disconnect electrical appliances. Do not touch electrical equipment if you are wet or standing in water. Electrical power and natural gas or propane tanks should be shut off to avoid fire, electrocution, or explosions until it's safe to use them. Use battery-powered flashlights and lanterns rather than candles, gas lanterns, or torches. If you smell gas or suspect a leak, turn off the main gas valve, open all windows, and leave the house immediately. Notify the gas company or the police or fire departments or state fire marshal's office, and do not turn on the lights or do anything that could cause a spark. Avoid any down power lines, above all, those in water. All electrical equipment and appliances must be completely dry before using them. You should have a certified electrician check these items if there's any question. Also, remember not to operate any gas-powered equipment indoors. How to clean up during flood recovery. Walls, hard surface floors, and many other household surfaces should be cleaned with soap and water and disinfected with a solution of 1 cup of bleach to 5 gallons of water. Wash all linens and clothing in hot water or dry clean them. For items that cannot be washed or dry cleaned, such as mattresses and upholstered furniture, air dry them in the sun and then spray them thoroughly with a disinfectant. Steam clean all carpeting. If there has been a backflow of sewage into the house, wear rubber boots and waterproof gloves during cleanup. Remove and discard contaminated household materials that cannot be disinfected, such as wall coverings, cloth, rugs, and drywall. After the flood. Although floodwaters may be down in some areas, many dangers still exist. Here are some things to remember in the days ahead after the flood. Use local alerts and warning systems to get information and expert-informed advice as soon as available. Avoid moving water. Stay away from damaged areas unless your assistance has been specifically requested by police, fire, or relief organization. Emergency workers will be assisting people in flooded areas. You can help them by staying off the roads and out of the way. Play it safe. Additional flooding or flash floods can occur. Listen for local warnings and information. If your car stalls in rapidly rising waters, get out immediately and climb to higher ground. Return home only when authorities indicate it is safe. Roads may still be closed because they've been damaged or are covered by water. Barricades have been placed for your protection. If you come upon a barricade or a flooded road, go another way. If you must walk or drive in areas that have been flooded, stay on firm ground. Moving water only 6 inches deep can sweep you off your feet. Standing water may be electrically charged from underground or down power lines. Flooding may have caused familiar places to change. Floodwaters often erode roads and walkways. Flood debris may hide animals and broken bottles, and it's also slippery. Avoid walking or driving through these areas. Be aware of areas where floodwaters have receded. Roads may have weakened and could collapse under the weight of your car. Stay out of any building if it's surrounded by floodwaters. Use extreme caution when entering buildings. There may be hidden damage, especially in foundations. Staying healthy and safe after the flood. A flood can cause physical hazards and emotional stress. You need to look after yourself and your family as you focus on cleanup and repair. Avoid floodwaters. Water may be contaminated by oil, gasoline, or raw sewage. Do not let children play in the water. Service damaged septic tanks, cesspools, pits, and leaching systems as soon as possible. Damaged sewer systems are serious health hazards. Listen for news reports to learn whether the community's water supply is safe to drink. Be aware of areas where water has receded. Roadways may have weakened and could collapse. Avoid down power lines and muddy water where power lines may have fallen. Clean and disinfect everything that got wet. Mud left from floodwaters can contain sewage and chemicals. Rest often and eat well. Keep a manageable schedule. Make a list and do jobs one at a time. Discuss your concerns with others and seek help. Contact Red Cross for information on emotional support available in your area. Cleaning up and repairing your home. Return home only when authorities say it's safe to do so. Discard food that may have been contaminated. Check on sewage systems. If damaged, these can be a serious hazard. Turn off the electricity at the main breaker or fuse box, even if the power is off in your community. That way, you can decide when your home is dry enough to turn it back on. Get a copy of the book, Repairing Your Flooded Home, which is available free from the American Red Cross or your state or local emergency manager. It will tell you how to enter your home safely, how to protect your home and belongings from further damage, how to record damage to support insurance claims and requests for assistance, how to check for gas or water leaks, and how to have service restored, how to clean up appliances, furniture, floors, and other belongings. The Red Cross can provide you with a cleanup kit, mop, broom, bucket, and cleaning supplies. Contact your insurance agent to discuss claims. Listen to your radio for information on assistance that may be provided by the state or federal government or other organizations. Tips for preparing for a tornado. Tornadoes are nature's most violent storms. Spawned from powerful thunderstorms, tornadoes can cause fatalities and devastate a neighborhood in seconds. Here are some characteristics of a tornado. A tornado appears as a rotating, funnel-shaped cloud that extends from a thunderstorm to the ground with whirling winds that can reach 300 miles per hour. Damage paths can be in excess of 1 mile wide and 50 miles long. Every state is at some risk from this hazard. Some tornadoes are clearly visible, while rain or nearby low-hanging clouds obscure others. Occasionally, tornadoes develop so rapidly that little, if any, advance warning is possible. Before a tornado hits, the wind may die down and the air may become very still. A cloud of debris can mark the location of a tornado even if a funnel is not visible. Tornadoes generally occur near the trailing edge of a thunderstorm. It is not uncommon to see clear, sunlit skies behind a tornado. Quick facts you should know about tornadoes. They may strike quickly with little or no warning. They may appear nearly transparent until dust and debris are picked up or a cloud forms in the funnel. The average tornado moves southwest to northeast, but tornadoes have been known to move in any direction. The average forward speed of a tornado is 30 miles per hour, but may vary from stationary to 70 miles per hour. Tornadoes can accompany tropical storms and hurricanes as they move on to land. Waterspouts are tornadoes that form over water. Tornadoes are most frequently reported east of the Rocky Mountains during spring and summer months. Peak tornado season in the southern states is March through May. In the northern states, it's late spring through early summer. Tornadoes are most likely to occur between 3 p.m. and 9 p.m., but can occur at any time. Know the terms. Familiarize yourself with these terms to help identify a tornado hazard. Tornado watch. Tornadoes are possible. Remain alert for approaching storms. Watch the sky and stay tuned to a National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration or NOAA weather radio, commercial radio, or television for information. Tornado warning. A tornado has been sighted or indicated by weather radar. Take shelter immediately. Before a tornado. To begin preparing, you should build an emergency kit and make a family communications plan. Listen to a NOAA weather radio or to commercial radio or TV newscasts for the latest information. In any emergency, always listen to the instructions given by local emergency management officials. Be alert to changing weather conditions. Look for approaching storms. Look for the following danger signs, such as a dark, often green-tinted sky, large hail, a large, dark, low-lying cloud, especially if rotating, a loud roar, similar to a freight train. If you see approaching storms or any of the danger signs, be prepared to take shelter immediately. During a tornado, if you are under a tornado warning, seek shelter immediately. Most injuries associated with high winds are from flying debris, so remember to protect your head. During a tornado, if you're in a structure such as a residence, small building, school, nursing home, hospital, factory, shopping center, or a high-rise building, you should go to a pre-designated area, such as a safe room, basement, storm cellar, or the lowest building level. If there's no basement, go to the center of a small interior room on the lowest level, such as a closet or interior hallway, away from corners, windows, doors, and outside walls. Put as many walls as possible between you and the outside. Get under a sturdy table and use your arms to protect your head and neck. In a high-rise building, go to a small interior room or hallway on the lowest floor possible. Put on sturdy shoes. Do not open windows. During a tornado, if you're in a manufactured home or office, get out immediately and go to a pre-identified location, such as the lowest floor of a sturdy nearby building or a storm shelter. Mobile homes, even if tied down, offer little protection from tornadoes. During a tornado, if you're stuck outside with no shelter, if you're not in a sturdy building, there is no single research-based recommendation for what last resort action to take because many factors can affect your decision. Possible actions include: immediately get into a vehicle, buckle your seatbelt, and try to drive to the closest sturdy shelter. If your vehicle is hit by flying debris while you're driving, pull over and park. Take cover in a stationary vehicle. Put the seatbelt on and cover your head with your arms and a blanket, coat, or other cushion if possible. Lie in an area noticeably lower than the level of the roadway and cover your head with your arms and a blanket, coat, or other cushion if you can. In addition, if you're left outside with no shelter, do not get under an overpass or bridge. You are safer in a low, flat location. Never try to outrun a tornado in urban or congested areas in a car or truck. Instead, leave the vehicle immediately for safe shelter. Watch out for flying debris. Flying debris from tornadoes causes most fatalities and injuries. After a tornado, injury may result from the direct impact of a tornado, or it may occur afterward when people walk among debris and enter damaged buildings. A study of injuries after a tornado in Marion, Illinois, showed that 50% of the tornado-related injuries were suffered during rescue attempts, cleanup, and other post-tornado activities. Nearly a third of the injuries resulted from stepping on nails. Because tornadoes often damage power lines, gas lines, or electrical systems, there's also the risk of fire, electrocution, or an explosion. Protecting yourself and your family requires promptly treating any injuries suffered during the storm and using extreme care to avoid further hazards. Injuries. Check for injuries. Do not attempt to move seriously injured people unless they are in immediate danger of further injury. Get medical assistance immediately. If someone is stopped breathing, begin CPR if you're trained to do so. Stop a bleeding injury by applying direct pressure to the wound. Have any puncture wound evaluated by a physician. If you are trapped, try to attract attention to your location. General safety precautions. Here are some safety precautions that could help you avoid injury after a tornado. Continue to monitor your battery-powered radio or television for emergency information. Be careful when entering any structure that's been damaged. Wear sturdy shoes or boots, long sleeves and gloves when handling or walking on or near debris. Be aware of hazards from exposed nails and broken glass. Do not touch down power lines or objects in contact with downed lines. Report electrical hazards to the police and the utility company. Use battery-powered lanterns if possible, rather than candles to light homes without electrical power. If you use candles, make sure they're in safe holders away from curtains, paper, wood, or other flammable items. Never leave a candle burning when you're out of the room. Never use generators, pressure washers, grills, camp stoves, or other gasoline, propane, natural gas, or charcoal burning devices inside your home, basement, garage, or camper, or even outside near an open window, door, or vent. Carbon monoxide, an odorless, colorless gas that can cause sudden illness and death if you breathe it, from these sources can build up in your home, garage, or camper and poison the people and animals inside. Seek prompt medical attention if you suspect carbon monoxide poisoning and are feeling dizzy, lightheaded, or nauseated. Hang up displaced telephone receivers that may have been knocked off by the tornado, but stay off the telephone except to report an emergency. Cooperate fully with public safety officials. Respond to requests for volunteer assistance by police, firefighters, emergency management, and relief organizations, but do not go into damaged areas unless assistance has been requested. Your presence could hamper relief efforts and you could endanger yourself. Inspecting the damage. After a tornado, be aware of possible structural, electrical, or gas leak hazards in your home. Contact your local city or county building inspectors for information on structural safety codes and standards. They may also offer suggestions on finding a qualified contractor to do the work for you. In general, if you suspect any damage to your home, shut off electrical power, natural gas, and propane tanks to avoid fire, electrocution, or explosions. If it is dark when you're inspecting your home, use a flashlight rather than a candle or torch to avoid the risk of fire or explosion in a damaged home. If you see frayed wiring or sparks, or if there's an odor of something burning, you should immediately shut off the electrical system at the main circuit breaker if you haven't done so already. If you smell gas or suspect a leak, turn off the main gas valve, open all the windows, and leave the house immediately. Notify the gas company, the police or fire departments, or state fire marshal's office, and do not turn on the lights, light matches, smoke, or do anything that could cause a spark. Do not return to your house until you're told it's safe to do so. Safety during cleanup. Wear sturdy shoes or boots, long sleeves, and gloves. Learn proper safety procedures and operating instructions before operating any gas-powered or electric-powered saws or tools. Clean up spilled medicines, drugs, flammable liquids, and other potentially hazardous materials. To be prepared, build a safe room. Extreme windstorms in many parts of the country pose a serious threat to buildings and their occupants. Your residence may be built to code, but that doesn't mean it can withstand winds from extreme events, such as tornadoes and major hurricanes. The purpose of a safe room or a wind shelter is to provide a space where you and your family can seek refuge that provides a high level of protection. You can build a safe room in one of several places in your home. In your basement, atop a concrete slab on grade foundation or garage floor, or in an interior room on the first floor. Safe rooms built below ground level provide the greatest protection, but a safe room built in a first-floor interior room also can provide the necessary protection. Below-ground safe rooms must be designed to avoid accumulating water during the heavy rains that often accompany severe windstorms. To protect its occupants, a safe room must be built to withstand high winds and flying debris, even if the rest of the residence is severely damaged or destroyed. Consider the following. The safe room must be adequately anchored to resist overturning and uplifting. The walls, ceiling, and door of the shelter must withstand wind pressure and resist penetration by windborne objects and falling debris. The connections between all parts of the safe room must be strong enough to resist the wind. Sections of either interior or exterior residence walls that are used as walls of the safe room must be separated from the structure of the residence so that damage to the residence will not cause damage to the safe room. In closing, here's a summary of what we've reviewed. It's important to plan in advance in order to keep families safe in an emergency. Before an emergency, prepare an emergency kit and make a family communication plan. Plan and practice a flood evacuation route with your family and make sure everyone has their contact information. Know your local alerts and warning systems. We've also discussed how to avoid illness during flood recovery and to make sure your water and food are safe, how to handle animals and mosquitoes during flood recovery, how to deal with chemical hazards during flood recovery, how to deal with electric and gas utilities during flood recovery, and how to clean up during flood recovery. We've also covered things to remember in the days ahead after the flood to stay safe, healthy, and cleaning up and repairing your home. Quick facts about tornadoes to be prepared, and terms to help identify a tornado hazard. And tips to prepare for a tornado to prevent injuries, reduce hazards, safety during cleanup, and guidance to build a safe room. Remember, emergency preparedness starts with you. Plan, prepare, train. Be ready when the time comes. Check out all the webinars the Illinois Department of Public Health, Office of Preparedness and Response is offering to support awareness of National Preparedness Month in September. They include Be Informed and Stay Informed during and after an emergency, Prepare an Emergency Supply Kit, Disaster and Emergency Planning, and the one you just listened to, Preparing for a Flood and Tornado. This concludes our presentation.